Ready when you are, I guess. Then.
Yeah, it's going to be a fairly short one tonight, just because I'm going out and stuff. So
no, it's cool, dude.
yeah, going to see that new Jordan Peele movie, boy.
Us.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It sounds really great. I just can't watch horror movies. I can run a horror one shot, a horror campaign, as a player and as a DM. Horror movies, I forced myself too much to watch them, and in 2019 I said no more because I'm sick of nightmares. I'm sick of all that shit.
I love it, man. Me and my friend are starting a horror movie podcast, so we're like watching everything. And we're watching like 6 or 7 a week, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, man, you got to watch all the old cult classics though.
Yeah, man. Like we watched some fucking ridiculous like Italian movies. Like we just binge watch Italian horror from the 60s, and it's blown my mind.
I watched a film the other day that was really old. Scanners.
Yeah, boy, Scanners is sick.
Just to try and save some time, the two Dragnars that were undead spore things. The first thing Robert will do is not only see if they have anything of value on them, but he will see if he recognizes them.
Okay, yeah, you can make an investigation check. Mark and Shannon, all good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm here. Can anyone hear?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Starters are mean to go on. That's a nat 20.
Yeah, you take a good look. You don't recognize them. I mean, maybe from like a different clan or something like that. Like they're definitely dressed not the same as you've seen Duragar dressed, because they kind of make their own clothes and stuff. So being part of a different society, they look a little different to what you're used to. In terms of items, I mean, they've got the very basic weapons that they've had that have kind of like crusted over with fungus. You kind of like have to break parts off where like small bits of root have been growing on them, just to prise open even their pockets. You get a few coin out of it. You get like there's like 30 gold between the two Duragar.
Okay.
Other than that, they don't have anything important on them.
No stones or anything like that. No relics or holy symbols or anything like that.
No,
No.
not
Okay.
on the.
Cool. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
But yeah, you'll just literally just finished off taking out all these huge mushrooms and dead things and a giant hook horror, and you're kind of still in the cave where we started.
Bit worse for wear.
A little bit.
I give I kind of sum through the coin, and I give each of my companions 7 gold pieces.
thank you.
Whereas yours?
7 whole gold.
Thank you.
But yeah, just to kind of go over, you kind of learnt that there was a guy called Morphle. Guy being, you're not sure, that is helping all this kind of plant life grow. That the mushrooms were kind of protecting you from entering. Let me reveal the area. Like this kind of area up here. That the cave passage kind of led to a stone. It doesn't look like stone on the map, but it's stone staircase with a kind of large iron door at the top.
I'm gonna get closer slowly.
Yeah, I follow in.
Yeah.
Limping,
Same.
but I follow.
I'll come along with my key ready.
I feel
Okay.
a little bit tired after that long battle. I mean, I think I made it passed out maybe a little while.
Yeah, you took a pretty savage beat, and the kind of the scar tissue on the side of your head is pretty sore. Well, you took like a pretty hard punch to the head from some mushrooms and a kind of hook to the side of the skull. So you're pretty sore.
So what's our plan of action?
Well, there seems to be a door at the top of the stairs, so I'm not entirely sure, but I think that may be somewhere we need to go. There's no other way out of this place. But I would advise caution. Is anyone light on their feet? Maybe stealthy?
That clanks round at the bottom of the stairs. Not me.
Yeah, that armor really echoes off of the cave walls as well.
Robert can't say much, he's wearing chainmail, so...
See.
So you're all kind of staring up this staircase with a large iron door at the top. The door looks like it's got markings on it, but it's hard to tell.
How are we going to get through this door?
Could I
Oh, robot.
get
Gosh, she sounds really drunk.
I think we're getting some audio issues on your end.
Okay, so I get closer to the door to try and read the inscriptions. Is this better?
Yep.
That's better. Okay, yeah. Make an investigation check on the door just to see if you can kind of you recognize it as it's more kind of underdarkish. Let me double check for a second.
I speak Common, Elvish, and Abyssal, and
Let's see. What did you find, Vix?
it's written in a language I've heard of. I think maybe, Robert, you could be able to read that, and I get back down the stairs.
Okay.
All right, Robert, you going up to take a look?
I'll go to the same point that Vix is at and see if I can manage to understand or read what it says.
Yeah, you
Under
recognize it
common,
instantly.
probably, so.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
completely speak undercommon and deep speech.
Yeah, there's under it's definitely like a Duragar structure. Like you can tell from the kind of craftsmanship that this is a Duragar built door.
Okay, looks like this is the wrong way. We go somewhere else then.
What do you mean the wrong way?
Possibly not a good idea that we go this way, or
Yes. Well, I remember me, DM. There wasn't any other way back when we were back where we were, because
There's
there
a
was
kind
like
of
a cave
yeah,
in at some place.
yeah. The down here it splits left and right. But yeah, it's
Oh,
caved in down that bottom side.
Robert, it's either we open that door or we spend possibly hours, possibly an entire day digging through the cave in the other path. Would you rather take the door or dig? I heavily suggest we take the door.
Or you could become a mushroom and join your friend.
that seems like a good idea. Let's do that.
I can't believe this.
I really think the door is our best choice at this point. What are you so worried about?
Okay, look. Some
What
of
does
you
it say?
may or may not realize by now that I am Durga, and I am from underworld. But what you don't know is that I do not remember much of being in the underworld, or why I am not there. The issue I have is that it's likely not very good news. If we go in here, likelihood is we find more Durga. And if we are not welcome, it could mean bad news. And I'm not talking about, slap on the hand. You're not, allowed in. Go back home. I'm talking about, hey, look, I'm head on spike. This is fun. Kind of bad news. So,
Robert, I understand your worries. I do. However, we must look and see what could be on the other side of that door. We can defend ourselves. We can in some way manage to also conceal ourselves or hide ourselves. We need to at least give it a try, because the alternative is to waste an entire day digging through a cave in, and that will simply not do.
and hearing like there's like a thought that Robert could be like cowardice, it kind of perches out his chest a little bit. It's like, no, I'm not worried. Okay, we go. I'm strong. Let's go.
All right, maybe Ak, you can go ahead and try to open the door. I'll close the march.
Okie dokie then. So I'm strolling up to the door and
I'm purposefully
getting the
keeping an eye on
locksmith.
Robert. Sorry,
Sorry, you're purposely.
keeping an eye on Robert.
Okay.
That's why I'm
And
closing the
gonna-
march.
And I'm going to take a two-handed swing at the door, see if we can get this fucker open.
Go for it. It's not a problem. You lift up two hands over the back of the head, swing it round, and the hammer just makes an almighty crash into an unlocked iron door that just swings wide open, crashing against the walls on the other side. Putting a nice hefty,
Hey, we're home.
putting a nice big dent in them.
Did before the door was battered, was there any particular translation in what was written on the door, or was I just understand it as it was a like entrance to a Durga's home or something?
Yeah. I'll copy and paste what it says into the chat in a second, but I will just
Nice.
move you on to the next page.
Yep.
Robert, what does the mark? What do the marking on that door mean?
Well, it's kind of hard to say in common tongue, but let me give you a while to try and translate. Okay, so it says.
That's Ale Guzzler, by the way. It put an E instead
No
of a
worries.
U.
It says for King El Guzzler, Lord of Waradum.
Would the name ring a bell? Any kind of history check,
yeah,
maybe?
can I do the same?
Yeah, both of you can do history checks. Robert's going to have to do his with disadvantage.
Nope.
Okay. 6.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
You guys can pop yourself in on the open side of the door in whichever marching order you were going.
Right next to Robert.
I think as I just hammered the hell out the door, I must be at the front.
I'll probably be at the back.
Yeah, seems about right. You you enter in through this door, and it's much more well crafted room. This isn't kind of just odd bits of stone. This is a legit house. It's still made of stone, but it's expertly crafted into an actual kind of living area. Except the walls and the floors have started to grow this kind of thick green moss and kind of thick roots that work their way up the sides of the walls.
Okay.
So yeah, the corridor leads down, and you can see more kind of green mossy shit on that side, and then there's a cuts right as well. I'll open that up for you.
Just as a note, Robert will be holding his axe on one shoulder, but with both hands on the blade, ready to attack anything that comes at us aggressively.
Noted. So yeah, you're in some sort of home that seems to have been overgrown with plant life.
Do we see this dude?
It seems like it's at the corner. There's probably a wall,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we would see him on the corner.
Yeah, well, if you took a few, kind of move forward a few feet, you'd see him.
Oh, Robert will continue to where he can see, so he'll probably just carry on walking forward up. I would imagine.
As you kind of go past that that right turning, you look down the corridor and you see this kind of it's kind of like a study room, except a lot of the furniture and the walls have overgrown with this plant life also. And in a chair is the body of a Duragar, and his skin has turned green and kind of mossy, and it's attached itself to the arms of the chairs, to the arms of the chair, and his head's leant back, and the moss travels right up his neck to where his beard would be. So the beard has small plants growing out of it also.
Okay, nothing to see here. Seems that there's a little man sat on chair. Little is a retrospective, of course. I'm quite short, but he seems to be on a chair. I don't know if he's alive.
There's this coffer in there. Does it have existence? Is it something that the map?
No, that's there, but it's completely kind of covered over with this thick kind of ivy. Yeah, like moss and ivy, like growing all over it.
Robert gives like a theatre whisper and goes, "Hey, you guy, in chair, can you hear me? Hey."
No reply.
I think this person's dead.
Well, dead is a matter of opinion. Some things are dead are still useful.
Some things are dead, and they are dead.
That would depend on who you talk to.
Well, I do not speak to the dead.
That is a shame. Sometimes they have good conversation.
Vix gives a long, tired sigh, pinches the bridge of her nose, and calm. All right, so I'll get a bit ahead and see what a few steps do. Does the body move?
There's no movement from the body.
I'm going to examine it to verify if it is indeed dead. Despite it looking much like dead, and I'm quite knowledgeable in the subject.
Make a medicine check.
You see? Dead.
Dead as anything. When you get closer, you see that the mouth is wide open, and there's this kind of thick, like purple plant in his mouth with these like big wide leaves that kind of fold into the center.
So dead that nature has already started to reclaim its dues. I'm gonna look into first freeing and not exactly cleaning, but freeing the coffer and investigating basically all I can that looks like it can contain things / clues.
Go for it. Just make a general strength check to see if you can kind of pull all the stuff off of. Oh yeah, no problem. You just start just ripping it off.
Seeing this happen, Robert will go up to the bookshelf and just see if there's anything of use or readable or useful within the book pile.
Yeah, make an investigation check on the.
So do I have to take an investigation as well for the coffer?
No, you open it up, and inside is just some old kind of Duragar clothes. Nothing fancy. Again, just a small coin purse with just kind of like 50 silver in it. But as you open it up and take a look, the silver pieces inside aren't marked with the usual mark you'd see in Tal'Dorei. They're marked with the head of a Duragar gentleman.
But they're definitely currency.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, they look pretty legit silver pieces.
Would they feel old or would they feel just foreign?
The weird thing about all of the objects you found in this chest is that there's no kind of mold or dust or anything about it. It seems pretty well kept and well looked after, and it doesn't look like it's been there particularly long.
I replace the coins in the coffer and close it after having folded the clothes properly.
Okay.
There is nothing of value in this coffer. Just probably this person's belongings. Clothes.
Is there
I
anything like
believe
out of
her?
place? Is there anything out of place in the room?
I mean, all of the plants and stuff. But other than that, I mean, if it wasn't all overgrown, it would be a pretty decent little study.
Robert goes over to the mossed body and places one hand at the rear of the head and one hand just under the chin and goes, "Hey, Vix, let's have a conversation."
Be right back.
You are absolutely disgusting.
I thought that might
Just
make you smile.
Leave the dead to their rest.
He's just trying to have a little bit of fun.
Robert,
It is not fun to disturb the dead's rest.
As you start kind of shaking the head around and kind of moving the jaw to speak, I'm going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw, because that plant just shoots a bunch of spores out.
When the DM says, "As the..."
Constitution saving, yeah.
So it's-
If is it poison? Because it's poison and he has advantage from dwarvish.
I do. I
stuff.
have advantage. Well, I have a 17.
Yeah. You are. It is poison. You are immune to it. Creatures immune to a poison condition are immune to the disease. So you kind of, it shoots out in your face, and you're just like, ugh! You just kind of like bat the spores away, and the leaves which have opened then like close themselves back up into the mouth of this
What was that?
Duragar.
That was weird.
Is it possible that seeing this happen, that Robert will try and carefully open the mouth and remove some and put them into like a small pouch in his pocket?
Yeah, make a nature check.
$20.
Yeah, no problem. You managed to remove this plant without destroying it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got it, roots and all. The roots kind of pull from deep down inside the Duragar's throat, but you pull them all the way out, and they kind of got these like dangly, horrible roots sticking at the end. But you've got the entire plant. It fits in a size, like in the palm of your hand, like pretty nicely.
What is that?
I'm not entirely sure, but if it has poisonous properties, it may come in handy.
Valerie, can I get a perception check?
Can do.
One thing I do remember of Underworld is there's a lot of things that can potentially cause harm, but used in the right way can also be quite useful. Utilities, effectiveness, and such.
I am familiar with the concept of shit. What's the English word? When something is practical, the noun. Shit, practicality.
Yep.
Yeah, practicality.
Yep.
Practicality. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Phew.
as Robert's fucking around with his dead body and pulling plants out of it, and Vix is kind of grossed out by it, Valerie, you notice that the whole time you've been here, the kind of ivy plant parts of the walls that have leaves on them, they seem to be getting bigger, not at a super rapid pace, but they're marginally bigger than they were when you got here. It seems to be um, the growth of the plant life seems to be pretty rapid. It's not like it's been here a long time. This looks like it could be fresher than it seems.
Guys, the plants, they're growing. Like, I don't mean
Okay,
like,
I'm back.
yeah, like the plants, they're growing faster than they should be.
As you tell the group this, Robert's just like at you with the skeletal hand of the little person kind of like waving, and then realizes that something is
Please stop it.
rather something important's being said, and stops and like, okay, then perhaps it's not safe to stay.
Probably not.
Just as a sign, the Durgar's body isn't like decayed at all either. It's just literally just rapidly just overgrown with like fungus and ivy.
Okay.
What happens if I shoot a ray of frost at the ivy?
I would like to find out.
Well, I shoot a ray of frost at the ivy. Frigid beam of blue-white light streaks towards a creature within range. Make a range spell attack against a target. On a hit, it takes 1d cold damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of the next turn. 2d8 cold damage.
That's an auto hit on plant life. It kind of you what are you blasting at? Just a chunk on the wall.
Yeah, just to see how it reacts.
Yeah, you blast, you kind of freeze a big chunk of the wall. It just blasts out, leaves a big frozen hole in the ivy. Doesn't seem to react at all.
Okay,
you wait a few moments.
I did.
You kind of let the cold wear off.
Yes, sort of seeing if it gets to defend itself. You know, like usually when when you trim them, it makes them grow faster than if you hadn't, because it feels threatened. You know, so it's growing back.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to increase its rate of growth at all.
Okay.
It seems to be growing at the same rate as the rest of it.
All right.
Just now it's starting.
We might still be on a timer, though. I suggest we keep exploring this, but at an increased space. And I will try to go to the other room, but I don't know what this is. Is this?
That's just part of the map.
All right. So more books over there. Did you tell what was in there to?
I found
Robert?
nothing with my roll.
All right. So I'll just keep looking through the books. I don't know if it's my initial investigation.
Is it possible?
No, I didn't do any investigation because the cover didn't require a roll.
No, it didn't. It didn't. You can do an investigation check on those books if
possible to give her a hand, as Robert would be looking through as well. To possibly give her advantage.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's a 17 with advantage then.
Valerie's like keeping an eye on the wall and keeping an eye on like the eye to make sure it doesn't get too bad.
Okay. Yeah. Valerie, maybe another perception check. While the rest of you kind of rummage through these books. Vix, you do find other than basic kind of books about like masonry and kind of old history books, you do find a history book on Wardon, the city that you're currently in, or nearby. Just a quick flick through. Just kind of says that there's
It's written in common.
yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It probably wouldn't be. Yeah.
I
mean,
well,
undercommon.
I can you said I could recognize under dark things, so maybe I can sort of surmise, like recognize the name of the city after
I would have
Robert
thought.
told me, and I tell him check this.
Some elements of undercommon
He's also
would be
helping.
like
So.
common, so it'd be almost like broken
Yeah.
English. So like
Yeah,
there'd
it's
be
like
parts
rooted
that
in
would be readable, like you'd recognise certain words, but not necessarily the entire context that they're meant to be in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, warden being a proper noun that I've seen not 10 minutes ago, I totally tossed the history book to Robert for further investigation.
Sure.
Yeah, Robert, you take a quick flick through. I mean, it's a pretty hearty book, but it kind of reads about the city of Wardham that's like pretty deep underneath Kymel. It's been there for like a few hundred years. The people, the Durgar there, kind of flourished. It's led by King Aelguzlar, and that it's a fairly prosperous place for Durgar to live. Yeah, if there's any other specific details about the city that you want to know.
I say it may take. I relay that kind of information on, but then I say it may take a little while longer to read. It's quite a thick book, but it looks like this Wardrum is quite an extravagant place for Durga to live. Perhaps we may encounter some more. But I do
Or
not
maybe
recognize.
not.
I do not recognize the name of the king.
Bear in mind that for now, aside from you, any Durgar we met has been either zombified or dead.
Yes.
It is likely that Warden, as prosperous as it was, is no more.
It's likely, but you know, Durgas are quite hardy. If something has wiped the city out, they may have either evacuated, or it may still be here.
Yes, well, for now, let's explore this way, and I keep an eye on the. You know what? I'm gonna keep the ivy in check and just liberally ray of frost the walls. Let it go, let it go.
Before you guys move up to that end, when you're at the table, kind of flicking through the book, Valerie, you hear the kind of clanging of metal making its way up the hallway from up in that direction.
Guys, there's noise coming from up there.
I hold my attack for anything that comes towards us aggressively.
I summon the Shadow Blade.
I get ready to shove my hammer up the arse of anything that comes through that way.
I am not summoning the Shadow Blade because I would be fucking up my last second level spell slot. Instead, I'll ready a Ray of Frost. I mean, that was what I was doing, skating.
All right, if you guys are waiting to ambush whatever comes around this corner, then we're gonna need some stealth.
Somewhat?
Stealth.
Oh. Boom!
Nice.
$21.
Are you guys at disadvantage for stealth checks?
I don't think so.
Heavy armor.
No, I was on standard.
Fair enough. So you all kind of wait. You hear the sound of footsteps and a kind of metal clanging up the hallway. That's on your left. As you kind of wait and kind of duck down and get yourself ready. Valerie, the spores that were in the air downstairs that you inhaled more than once kind of tickle the back of your throat, and you sneeze loudly, and it echoes down the hall, and you hear the footsteps stop immediately.
Everyone collectively turning their head towards Valerie and move a deadly stare, like, what the fuck?
Sorry, I can't control my sneeze.
Can't I get a reaction check? See if I can get my finger under her nose before she sneezes.
You know what? Yeah, I will allow it. It's gonna have to be a dexterity check to see if you get how quickly you can get your finger under there.
She's going.
Right, okay, so straight deck. Or do you want a deck saving throw, or what? How do you want to do this?
Just do a check. Just do it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you manage it. She's like, huh, and then axe there, boom, straight under the nose. Stops the sneeze. Only because the rest of you rolled so high on stealth, I thought that's unfair to let one person. Yeah. So the noises don't stop, and they get closer and closer. As they get closer, you can hear various people talking to each other in Undercommon. Robert, you can understand it.
Ooh.
That these figures seem to be talking to each other.
What do I hear?
They're kind of like just discussing the strange plant growth, like how the fuck has it got so big so far? This is unnatural. It's there must be something of value in here. We can't keep going on the way we've been going on.
Okay. I have a particular feature for my background, which is position of privilege.
Yeah. I just saw you open it up and you go.
Would I know of this undercommon speak being of like common background, or do they sound a bit more higher brow?
They sound a little higher than a commoner.
Above my station, or not so?
Yeah, I think you've definitely heard people speak like this before, and as you hear it, you kind of you feel like as highbrow as undercommon can sound, this is pretty up there.
Other people of high birth treat you as a member of the same social sphere, so
let's
do as you will.
Guys, give me a moment. I think perhaps I can pull the wool over eyes. Let me try. If it fails, then we have no choice but to fight, but I think we may be able to talk our way out of this. Integrate into their society, perhaps.
Into what?
Just follow my lead. If you stay here, I will let you know when it's clear. And Robert will brassfully and very poignantly stroll around the corner.
Vix is still like flabbergasted at the idea that someone who is not looking like Robert would be able to integrate into Durga society.
As you go around the corner, you see a little ways down the corridor. I haven't got them on the map, but open up the corridor anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 Duragar there, and they all grab a weapon when they see you, and then as they see that you're kind of one of them, they lower them, and the one at the front, who is
Robert speaks up and is like, "What are you guys doing here? I was told not to expect anyone for weeks."
The one at the front is very finely dressed in the best armor. He's got like this super fancy like full plate armor, like he's got this big sword, and he kind of looks up at you and he says, I'm sorry, friend, that's quite the accent you've got there. It's further north. How did you find yourself in here? How have you survived? It's good to see a fellow Duragar. I don't think I've seen your face before.
No, my mother traveled here when we was young, and I worked myself into the ranks of the officers. I was forced to come and do a recurrency and see what was going on here. I was told that I wasn't going to see anyone for weeks. Then I hear you lot tramping through like noisy dogs.
Who gave you these orders?
They came directly from the crown.
Make a deception check.
Do I have advantage because I'm a jerk?
No.
Usually being a jerk to people usually gives you disadvantage, so don't tout it too much at the end.
Oh shoot. A 9?
9!
That was literally just to see what you rolled, because he takes a few steps forward and he says, well, that's strange because I, King Ale Guzzler, don't remember giving you these commands.
Well, perhaps it's these weird spores have been playing with my mind.
Speak truthfully, friend. Who are you and what have you come for? Perhaps we can help one another.
I move myself closer.
As you do, the 2 Duragar behind him kind of grip their weapons a little.
I relax my weapon and have it one-handed by my side as if like I'm leaning on it a little bit. Okay. Seems that the jig is up. I am not from here, but I am a Brevlin, of course, of Duragar blood. And perhaps this was fate that we have come together, and it is you, King Elskalsla, who is the first living Duragar that I have seen in a very long time. I have spent a while above ground. There is much to tell, but I was investigating some criminal activity, and I fell down a hole with a group of allies, and this is where I have ended up.
Now make a persuasion check, because you've already lied to him. He needs to know that you're telling the truth.
17.
How the fuck do you have a +6 in persuasion?
Because I'm fucking shit hot.
Paladin and charisma, man. He puts he takes a step forward and puts one hand on your shoulder. He says, "You and your companions are welcome here, brother. But I must warn you, this place is not what it was.
I have your word that my
Where-
companions will not be harmed.
Of course, of course.
Okay. Can I do an insight to see if his word is bound?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not as good as that. I don't know. I go, okay, guys, it's clear. We have the king's favor.
A king's favor? I turn around the corner very slowly and very warily, but my unarmed hand far from my body.
I'll follow it very slowly.
So these are your companions.
I did say that I was above ground for a while. And you was the first living Durga that I had seen in a long while.
Please, what is your name? And as I said before, that's quite the accent. Is that somewhere near Craghammer?
Would Robert know?
You make a history check. No, make a make a history check. See if you can remember. See if hearing the name rings a bell. Damn, boy, fuck. I thought this was gonna start bringing some of you. Make it with advantage because it might trigger some.
Okay.
I'm trying to give you your memory back, man.
That's a bit better.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, you're like, was Craghammer. Real deep under Craghammer, yeah.
I would imagine that the word Craghammer then like a flash would like be in like Robert's mind and he's just like yes.
Yeah, the pupils dilate and like vroom,
Yes,
like a flood of memory.
Craghammer does ring a bell. I apologize, Your Highness, but my mind is not what it once was, I believe. But you saying Craghammer does spur some memory, so perhaps that is where I'm from.
Well, it's a damn shame what happened there. It's a damn shame you did the right thing getting out of there before the mind flayers took over.
Okay, well, if you say so.
Can I try to ascertain what what is Robert's body language telling me after after the mind flayer? Because I assume this mind flayer is pretty, universal enough for it to to be like in both common languages.
Oh yeah, just to he kind of sees that you have humans, and Robert talked about being above ground, so he's switched to common.
Oh, okay. Then, how does Robert react to the mind flayer mention? To mention that he might be coming from some place that got annihilated.
I don't know. How does Robert react?
If I remember rightly, and I could be wrong here, most of the mind flare stuff happened.
It was
like,
at the very beginning of the campaign.
Very before Robert
Before
actually left, if that makes sense, or before he would have lost his memory of said events. It's not a recent thing, is it? It's been and happened.
Well, I mean, like at this point, it would have been what they did that, then the Briarwoods, then Chroma Conclave. So, and you're in that year gap. So it's been like just over a year since it happened.
Yeah, so it's been and gone, hasn't it? It's not something recent.
Yeah, but as far as they know, that the Craghammer is a no go.
So as far as they're concerned, it's still that way.
Yeah. The last they heard was like, you don't go Craghammer.
Sure. Robert's body language would be semi-blasé, like it's like meh, mind flares kind of thing, but it's like it's like semi-awkward, like awkward, because he's like, I don't know. But he's like, it's almost like he's not bothered about what's going on at Craghammer because he doesn't know enough at this stage, if that makes sense.
All right.
Is if you'd like to follow us, we have the city here of Wardham is a desolate wasteland compared to what it used to be. It was it was a thing of beauty up until a mere few months ago, and now it's fully under control of this archdruid. He just came out of nowhere. Morphle, his name was, just turned up and claimed that this land was his. Started growing plants and these giant mushrooms and blasting these spores, and he's turned some of our own into these undead and or whatever they are. We've managed to save a few and find a spot to seek a bit of refuge, but we're struggling. Me and a couple of my compatriots here came up to just try and salvage something, but so far we've found no luck.
Well, believe me, there's nothing back that way. But from a few talking toadstools.
And bodies of possibly your enemies, if I understand well.
Yes, very much so. If you're talking about the mushrooms, then yes, enemies for sure. Please, if you're welcome to come with us, and we can speak more about this if
Yes,
if you
more
want.
information about this Morphle guy would be great, and I kind of move to follow.
Okay, we can get you guys rested up too. No offense, you all look like shit.
think
You are
we
not wrong, my friend. Your Highness, sorry.
Please, it's no bother. Are the rest of your compatriots joining you?
If you would permit it.
Of course. And he kind of he turns and goes back down the corridor, followed by the two guards that are with him.
We'll follow.
Yeah, he takes you down, and kind of a portion of the wall opens up, and he takes you right down into a new set of tunnels that have been kind of hastily dug. He kind of he follows it through, and it intersects a couple of times. If you didn't know your way like he does, you would be lost in this kind of labyrinth of tunnels that are built under here. But he knows the way super well, and he just, without even thinking about it, takes all the right turns.
I'm trying to commit the path to memory.
Okay, yeah, you
I do an intelligence check.
Yeah.
And
for it.
if you think, for example, you yourself know he's trying to muddy the way, sometimes with disadvantage, but that's what I do basically as a DM. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it. It's pretty confusing, and at first you're like, right, left, right, left. Was that a left? Shit, I've forgotten. And you take so many turns that you forget where you started, and you are now lost. But just following blindly this guy.
These tunnels seem relatively recently dug. What is the purpose? You're trying to maneuver through city without getting seen, I'm guessing.
As of now, that's what their purpose was. In the earlier days, we used them for kind of service tunnels. When we would build large structures, it was easier to bring them underneath the city and take them to where they needed to be, rather than people's living areas. But now we use them for safe passage.
So this this Morphle guy, he turned up a few months ago.
That's correct. Yes,
and he claims to be under some sort of druid circle.
But that seems to be the case. I mean, the extreme growth of the plant life here seems to allude to that. He just turned up out of nowhere and claimed that Keimer was his land and that he wanted it back. Summoned some sort of demon, and I mean, we didn't get long. We had to just get as many out as we could, and that's what we did. We escaped through into these tunnels.
So the little bit of information that you failed to tell us was that he was able to summon a demon.
Well, the demon hasn't really been seen since. I mean, this is only through word of mouth that I've heard about this. I've never really seen any evidence of it myself, nor have I even really seen Morphle since he first arrived. But the way the plant life grows and the mushroom people act at the mention of his name would lead me to believe that he's still about somewhere in the city, I assume.
But you have no idea where.
I haven't been able to investigate. It's pretty bad in there. I wouldn't recommend anyone go in there. We're just trying to survive.
In my mind, if the kingdom is true and they want what is right for their people, and they do it without causing tyranny and struggle, then they should be in charge of their own land. I think if my companions were also able, or perhaps compensated, myself and them would be interested, perhaps, in helping you with this endeavor.
That's mighty generous of you, and it would help bring the city back to its people, and it would really make a big difference. You would be very greatly compensated. You'd also have my favor for the rest of my years.
I kind of look back at Vix and just kind of give a look as if to say, does it seem like something you were interested in?
I would like to have a conversation with my friend in private, if you'd like, Your Majesty.
That's fine. We're almost at the. We're almost at our the small safe area that we've built. And as he says that, he comes out of the tunnel, and there's a kind of wider open cave area that has small structures built all around it. Maybe kind of 40 or 50 small structures. Duragars are pretty good at building, and they've managed to kind of build themselves small homes. And there's various kind of Duragar, men, women, children, just everyone there really. Just living here under just pretty shitty circumstances. But they're trying to kind of salvage something. But their homes are gone, and this is where they're living now. But you kind of come out into that area, and the king turns to you, Vix, and says, "Of course, just come and see me when you are when you wish to speak. I'll be uh, roaming the grounds and seeing to my people." So yeah, you're all in this kind of makeshift village of survivors.
Okay. Do we have any kind of privacy, even if it is, middle of the street and everyone is busy doing someone else, aka surviving? Private.
Yeah, there's a little attention coming your way when you first enter. I mean, they've never seen really kind of humans here before. Even you, Vix, who isn't human, get
I'm not a draw, so
yeah. You get
I'm not
even you.
usually underdog dwellers.
Yeah, you get some funny looks. Like it's purely Duragar here. But as you enter with the king, they kind of just assume, well, these guys must be legit, so they ignore your presence. You can find a quiet spot that you can all kind of huddle in, the four of you.
Robert, I really sympathize with their situation. I really do. But I would rather not waste time if this mission does not interfere with the initial one we have. I have sort of a hunch that they may be connected in some sort, but I'd rather make sure and turn back after we've focused on our problem.
At this stage, Robert is just like looking like almost through Vix and just looking at all the other Duragars like completely like
Hey,
blank face.
I snap my fingers in front of his head. Would you please look at me when I
Sorry, this
talking to
is
you
a little
in a
bit
serious
overwhelming.
manner?
I understand. Yes, yes.
I understand that this has been a long time since you've seen your people. I understand that they're in danger, but it is not an immediate one. While we have a much more immediate threat to neutralize. I have a hunch that they may be connected based on what the king told us, but if we're not sure, I'd much rather be taking care of the time-sensitive one and then double back to help these people if you still wish to do so.
You are
But
right.
we don't know where we're going.
Sorry?
These guys seem to know where they're going, so maybe if we help them out, they can show us where, we go to finish our task.
You do make a good point, but that still requires some investigation that I did think was already necessary. As I said, I have a hunch that maybe the small file, having been here since a couple of months ago, might be connected to the threat that's posed on the surface city, Kaimo.
No, you are right, Vix. You are right. We must learn more about our first priority. But the only way we can do that is to talk to the king. Perhaps he has more information regarding the details that we know. And hopefully we can be pointed in the same direction.
I'll let you handle this. Despite your memory loss, you are certainly most qualified to navigate the society. Or what's left of it, as I mumble as I look at the poor people, the poor folk around me.
Vix, that is probably the first kindest thing you have said to me. And you kind of see like him almost like wipe the corner of his eye, like
Well, you're welcome.
okay, I
He
will,
has no recollection of ever being kind to you, you know. Fair, yeah, as fair as she could, yes, but kind. Wait, I was kind with this dude.
yes, I will be able to talk to the king, but perhaps one of you would like to come along.
I would like to.
Then let the others rest. Perhaps there is other questions they can ask to
I'm
others.
certain that Ak would like to rest. Valerie, would you like to accompany us?
I would. I think I could accompany. I'm pretty good at talking, I guess.
What
Right.
religion do these Durgar follow?
Are you asking that in character?
That
Yeah.
is not his accent. So this is not in character.
Make
Yeah. How long have I been playing this? I don't have a game voice. There's me and there's me.
make a religion check. See if you can spot anything. You're not 100% sure, but you're pretty. You think you might have seen some kind of change bringer symbolism.
Ooh, who's wearing Changebringer?
You just seen kind of people with kind of symbols. Nobody kind of like outrightly worshipping like a cleric or anything, but you've seen like the odd child with like a change bringer holy symbol.
I do like
just
a almost like a crossed paths kind
Ah.
of like a T junction kind of symbol with my arms that would probably represent like a communication between people or followers of the Changebringer.
Would I? I'm gonna try and see
there's
if
no
I can
like
find.
outrightly like open worship of the change bringer, but you kind of like side eye like, is that
Okay.
we-
Would I see maybe someone similarly sporting any kind of reference to the classic Durga deities like Laduga, that kind of thing?
not down here. There's like the anything like that, like temples and like big open religion has not been a huge priority at the minute, because obviously
No.
they've
What I'm looking is like similarly. You said people are sometimes, and you see out of a pocket maybe a small change bringer symbol. Can I similarly spot anyone who has the same kind of thing, but for another god, and that god specifically that I'm looking for is, well, the Durga deities. They have deities as well, technically in the Forgotten Realms, and since the two overlap a bit, I thought maybe.
you don't spot anything.
All right.
Nothing recognizable.
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, Well, me and Vix, I guess, going to go and speak to the king.
Is everyone going? Ak, are you going? Valerie, you said you were going.
No, Axe just going to find the corner to lay down and go to sleep.
All right, you back up against the stone wall, legs out straight on the floor, arms crossed, warhammer on the lap. Just take a little nap.
Might as well. I'm not playing my usual charismatic rogue, so I'm not going to be a lot of good at this point.
All right, Ak takes a seat, has a little nap, and the rest of you go and find the king. It doesn't take you long. I mean, this place isn't huge, and you see him kind of talking to a female Durgar and her children, just kind of consoling her, and then turns to face you when you come near.
Takes like almost like one of them double take moments, and Robert kind of like shakes his head to snap himself out of it. It's like, apologies, Your Majesty, but I was wondering if we could take a little bit of your time.
It's not a problem, friend. Please, bring your companions. And he walks you a little ways down into another kind of stone hut, and he moves the kind of curtain which is acting as a door aside, and takes you inside. There's 2 guards stationed on the door as well, but they let you in, no questions asked. As you enter this kind of round hut, there's just a very simple bed and a few chairs, and then just whatever bits, kind of knickknacks he could take with him, and a large kind of gold warhammer up against the back wall. And he sits in one of the chairs and he says, "Please take a seat. Well, what do you need?"
Well, as you know, our original purpose for ending up in your home is the chasing of a particular criminal that has evaded us. And we understand your problem, but before we are able to help you with yours, we must first take care of the priority issue that we have come here for. And with a bit of luck, perhaps they are linked and we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Okay, I like the sound of it. I like the sound of it a lot.
We and my companions were witness to a lord being in an attempted assassination. A long story short, it turned out that members of his council was plotting against him. We found that certain members were responsible and that they followed an entity who was believed to be hiding within the city perimeters. We was led to believe that they had an underground access point that led them to this entity. We investigated, we stumbled, and we were taken by the steepness of the hole and traveled quite far and landed in the cavern not far from your city.
I can assume this city is Carmel.
It is.
One of the kind of guards, you can hear this entire conversation, pokes his head through and says, he says, "My lord, allow me to get your advisor. He knows much more than you on these matters, if you don't mind me saying. And he kind of waves his hand and says, yes, 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 get him, get him, get him. He turns to you guys and he says, I believe our problems may be connected, as you suspect. This this morphle that's taken my city siege claims to have his people once helped the land around Kymel flourish, and helped it produce lush farmland, and he, he he doesn't seem too impressed by the current state of the city. I think he may be responsible for whatever it is that he's summoned. May have been responsible for the attack. I think he's hoping to destroy Kymel and make it flourish with plant life once again.
Perhaps my friend Vix will be able to give you a little more insight to the information that we have learned. I am more of a tactician slash defender. She seems more into the arts of the histories and knowledge that we have learned. May be able to articulate our circumstances better.
Wow, that's a tall order. That's a tall order for Miss 13 Intelligence. Only intelligence skill is Arcana. But yeah, I recount basically how our investigation went. I talked to him about the finger specifically, the finger that served as some sort of, like, I don't know, rally point. I talked to him about the undead, but how those above ground did not have the same fungus as the one below ground. That's the only discrepancy I see here. That is the only discrepancy I see here.
You kind of relay all this information to him, and he kind of nods his head. He looks back at Robert and he says, you were right to let her speak. She's far more intelligent than yourself, if you don't mind me saying. While this conversation's been happening, another dwarven gentleman has entered, more robed this time, older, maybe kind of some sort of advisor type role. Enters and he listens in. He says, he looks to you guys and he says, this is certainly some disturbing information. My name is this guy is the only non-Durgar that you've seen, and he's just a regular dwarf, just a regular old ass dwarf. And he says,
regular dwarf.
And he says, my name's Fred Fiddlestrom. I've been listening to your conversations and I find it quite interesting. I've become quite close with the king here over the last few years, and I'm a sort of advisory role to him. But what do you say is quite interesting? We've had reports from those that were inside the city when Morphle first arrived that said that he was carrying some sort of demon with him, working for him, that had some sort of undead slaves, not of the plant life variety that we have down here. I deduce from the information you've given me that he's mounting some sort of attack on the city in order to take it down and plant his own agenda in there. I think he's using this demon as a weapon.
I think I had a finger on me, actually. Did I bring it?
I think you did.
Yeah. I think somebody did. Probably.
We went back for it.
Yeah, I'm the one who went back for it, so I'm getting it from the pouch I left it in. Is it still moving?
Oh yeah. As
and-
soon as you touch it, it starts to wriggle even more.
Okay, so I'm clamping it down, but I'm trying still to now the knowledge that there's demon, possibly demon or devils, demon,
Demon, I think it's
like a not like
abyssal or
a
infernal.
It would be abyssal. It's not
Yeah,
like
abyssal is
we're not
demons
talking,
then.
yeah, we're not talking like Demogorgon level demons, but something pretty nasty.
Okay, so now that I know that there's demons involved, can I know if this is a demon's finger?
You take the finger out of your bag, and Fred is like stumbles backwards, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, that is
Well, we've been
disgusting."
talking about a finger.
Well, I didn't know you were gonna pull one out of a bag.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
It is, I admit, but I thought this was possibly the finger of a lich or something. But now that you're talking about demons, it might very well be some of its flesh made to bind and made to possibly bind the owner, if I may say, the person it was given to. Maybe into some sort of contract. No, that's a devil thing. But yes, if our missions do intersect, we can definitely help. Do you happen to know where this morphin is operating? From where this morphin is operating?
We believe somewhere inside the city, although we haven't really sent out a party. It seems too dangerous, and our numbers are
Limited,
small
I
as it
understand.
is. A lot of it was women and children that we got out while the rest stayed to fight. Unfortunately,
Imagine that Vix is holding the demon finger in her fist and putting her face on her fist, like very pensive, but still wriggling finger.
when you do it, like the old dwarf is kind of like he scrunches up his face like in disgust, and he's like, "Mm." But the king says, we believe that he's emanating some sort of plant life from him and spreading it through the city. Wherever the plants are more dense, we assume is where he's going to be.
That seems like a very intelligent guess.
Yep, just right off the top of the dome. That was just pop right.
So perhaps we can go that way. Vix, by any
Yes.
chance, does your little finger, if it's left at its own device, does it go in the direction it wants to go?
I don't think you've ever tried.
I did a motion of closing a bag and I put my finger off my push to talk. So yeah, I'm putting the finger in my little pouch. I'm closing the pouch with this drawstring, and I put the bag on the floor and see if it moves ever so slightly. I mean, the closer we get, the more the finger will want to go back, right? I mean, you said it was stronger, so I thought maybe even through the bag now that it's been out, it's going to try to move. Just don't want to lose it.
If you put it in like a pouch, you could definitely feel it wriggling inside.
All right, is it trying to crawl or something?
I mean, it can't really crawl like in a bag, but if you feel it, you can definitely feel it like wriggling. Like if there was like a large worm inside.
Do we see it trying to wriggle while it's in the bag?
Yeah, when she first puts it in the bag, you see it wriggle, and then it kind of slows down.
Okay. I turn to the king and say, "Do you have any very good, strong quality string?"
My friend, we're Duragar. We have good, strong quality everything.
I thought you'd say
What do you
that.
need?
Just string. If you have some high quality string that we could use, say 15 feet, single thread.
I could gather that for you just about.
Please. Vix, I no understand that you don't want to lose this finger in case it is important. Perhaps if we treat it like a bloodhound of sorts, it could lead us to where we need to go.
That is a clever idea. I agree. This is for the best. And I get back my little pouch, and I wait until I get a little string to put it on a leash.
Robert has
Not a leash, because it's not a leash stringer.
Robert has a side smile and he wipes his eye corner of his eye again and says, "Second time."
Second time that I've been fair to you makes you cry.
It is very rare for you to say something kind.
I am just being fair. You had a clever idea.
And it
It
was
is
nice for
not
you to
kindness
say
to say.
Vix, you need to take the compliment as much as I do. We deserve it. We are good people.
There is much you do not know about me. But know this, I am never nice.
I disagree.
Why not?
Because it isn't fair. It's much better to be fair.
You could also be nice once in a while. Doesn't cost anything to give someone a kind word.
Yes, but sometimes nice is not fair. So it is much more accurate to act in fairness rather than in kindness. Not accurate, but much more practical to act in fairness rather than in kindness.
Well, sometimes people just need a kind word to help them get along. Do you not ever want kindness to you? Do you not ever want anyone to be kind to you?
I want everyone to be fair to me.
While this conversation's going on, the king like looks up at you guys and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
My king, would you agree that it is better to treat someone with kindness or to treat someone fairly?
Us Duragar are not regarded very highly in circles. On the surface, we here in Wardom are trying to change that perception of Duragar. We're trying to be, I guess, kinder and fairer than other Duragar societies.
I guess kindness and fairness can fall hand in hand sometimes.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Well, I will always put fairness above kindness. And my tone suggests that I want to end this discussion.
So is that it? Are you guys taking this on? You're gonna go and take this guy out for us?
Yeah, we're gonna walk the finger. We're gonna walk the dog.
I mean, you're all.
Sausage dog.
It's the smallest dog ever.
Before we go, we should probably go and get Ack. We don't want to just leave him behind if we're going straight into letting the finger show.
Well, I would
Honestly,
probably say it's
Ack
best
was
for us to do good rest before we head out.
I would indeed try to rest.
We can set up accommodation for you all. Have you woken after a good rest and have you set up on your way?
That would be fair. May I suggest, Vix, as you're so kind to enjoy your pets? I know you liked to name the horse that we had temporarily. Perhaps you would like to name our little Pinky friend while we have it. It is very animal-like.
Wait, what? I does not understand. Would you just say sorry?
You named your horse, no? You liked the animal?
Cassandra is a horse. This is a demon's finger. At the very least, I will name it by the name of the demon, not anything else.
But you do not know the demon.
Oh, demon's finger. This is an excellent name. You know, quite practical, isn't it?
For now, you could call it something like, I don't know, Jeff.
This is absolutely out of the question. This is not an animal.
Well, it would be easier on the eye if we treated it such.
It is not. You are making fun of me.
What would make you think this, Vix? And he kind of gives like a childish grin.
May I add that Robert also named a mushroom?
Indeed.
I'm Vix is going to regally stand up, put her pouch into her pocket, and take her leave by bowing to the king, and just set out into the streets, checking, amble around, see how people are faring. Basically, she's not really the caring type, but if she can help, and before going to sleep, she'll do that.
Okay. So you guys get shown a couple of kind of hovelly type buildings that are free, that you can spend the evening in. Just very simple, kind of a bit like what the king's got, just like a stone circular room with a couple of beds in it.
One of us would have woken up Ack from just sleeping in the middle of the street.
Yeah, I assume that you're gonna go and wake him, unless you're just leaving him there. Ack, you're taking your rest in the street, and a guard kind of comes up and kicks you on the foot. She says, "Hey, hey,
What?
I don't want any pisshead lying around in the street. It might be just."
At which point, Axe stands up and then stands up some more. And leans on his hammer. Who are you calling a pisshead, short ass?
My mistake, sir. I think I've seen your compatriots just down the street. Well, apologies again. Apology.
I ignore him and walk toward in the direction that he's gestured for the rest of the.
Yeah, it's basically like it's pretty like wide open, and the spaces are quite wide, so it doesn't take you long to spot them being kind of shown these these dwellings.
Ah, there you are.
Nice of you to join us.
Well, I had a dream.
Sounds interesting. What was it about?
Pink unicorns. I don't think it was relevant.
Fair enough.
I would have liked to, as we've been moved back to this place of rest, to spend the time asking if it was okay for pets to be with us. So whether or not I would have asked the king or whoever.
Yeah, he's okay with that. Like, he assumes you're talking about a small animal, but if you say just pets, he's like, yeah,
Okay.
I don't see any issue.
Yeah. So as we go into this like stoned hovelly thing, you see Robert kind of making some sort of motions with his hands, and he's kind of mumbling words, and he kind of gets things like wrong to begin with. He's like, no, that's not right. Let me try again. And you kind of hear some like language that kind of almost sounds like Undercommon, but is a bit sort of reversed. And after about 10 minutes of him doing this kind of motion, you see that there is this spiritual, like nebula looking corporeal form of like a hound looking animal appear as he casts Find Steed.
The rest of you that are in this hovel see this spectral form of a hound kind of take shape in the center of the room, and Robert's kind of summoning it.
That was cool. How did you do that?
It little memory was shaked a little bit. It takes some practice, but this animal will work as a steed of sorts. So, if one of us feels tired enough, or we need to go somewhere quicker, one of us can use it to go as fast as we need to, and as fast as it will carry. Plus, it also means that we get a little companion to help if we come to any trouble. It will assist.
That's awesome.
I'd like to think so. I still need a character sheet for that, by the way.
Yep, I think I've did I not give you one last week?
I don't recall. No, if it is, then I haven't got it in my thing. No, I haven't got it.
No,
in my
okay,
journal.
I'll give you.
Bergast. Yes, sorry, I have got it. So you guys see it looks like its form is large, and initially it looks like a dog, but it looks like a very like monstrous looking dog. Its forearms and its head are very broad, and it's like more slim and like lower to the ground as you get to the rear, but it's very big and very teethy. But its form is almost corporeal. It's almost like see-through, and it looks like a swirling nebula, like purples and pinks, and like almost like a sparkly light shines through it. I'd also like to say that If you need to call this beast, you can call it Masha.
That's a nice name.
Masha will watch us as we sleep.
And now I'm finished in the city. Vix is coming back to the quarters and enters in this the weird pet, and she's like, "What the hell is this?"
Vix, say hello to my new friend Masha. It's a bagest.
It's quite cute, isn't it?
Wait, I gotta check something. Do you have the sheet for the Bargaze as a monster? I can't find it.
Yeah, I can give you an image of what it looks like, but it's not the...
Oh wait, no, I had so many filters. This is this a pet?
It is a steed of sorts.
Is it? Ah!
It's not your traditional Burgest. It's a lot more tamed than some that we may come across down here.
What type did you choose for your I suppose this fine steed or something.
Yeah.
What type did you choose? Because you can, I mean, Burgasts originally are fiends, but I think you can override this with the rule.
In terms of how it looks, its appearance and shape is fiendish, but its corporeal nebula appearance is almost celestial.
All right.
It's almost see-through, apart from you can see like its colours are like a nebula swirl.
In Abyssal, I will tell to the Bargist, behave, and I will turn around and I just go to the other side of the room. I don't want it near me.
Once that's done, I can now resort. I will do some sort of prayers and stuff that I would do before going to rest for the evening and rearrange my spells.
Yay, rest!
Yay!
Everyone can take a rest. I'm gonna have to cut it.
Yeah,
yeah, sure. We figured.
All right, dude. So, fortnight time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Thank. I only just realized I have 3 hit points left.
Well, we've got a steed. Well, I've got a steed for as long as it stays alive.
It's okay. I can make you steeds later.
Do you need a sheet and roll 20 for